Welcome to the People's Congress, where we, the Congress, represent you, the people, each night as we discuss the issues impacting you, the middle class. The People's Congress is now in session.
And we're back. Another episode of the People's Congress. We are back in your face with information you can use and information you need to share, because this is what the middle class needs to hear to get out of the middle class. Look, we got our congressmen and women ready to go with news that from all around the world. And we're going to do introductions, and then we're going to go ahead and get into today's show. The first one we're going to go to is Marquis. Marquis, how's it going?
I am well. Thank you for asking. I am Marquis Washington from Indianapolis, Indiana. I am slightly under the weather, but I power on thanks to my wonderful team.
Yes.
I am the marketing director for The Good Stuff Sauce LLC, a young company started by a young entrepreneur, my son, who created a sauce. He calls it The Good Stuff Sauce. You will see it sooner than later. Keep your eyes on it, because it is the good stuff.
All right. We go to Jerome. Rome, how's it going, man?
It's going great. Thank you, Marquis. I'm pumped up right now. Folks, I'm Jerome Red, a.k.a. Rome, Baltimore's own, with Let's Think, Change, Grow. And at Let's Think, Change, Grow, that's exactly what we do, and maximize your greatness. Welcome.
All right, and back on the show tonight, we have Vicky. What's going on, Vicky?
Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for having me back. Good to see everybody. I'm Vicky Arroyan, Executive Director of Podium RVA. We do writing, communication, leadership programs for our young folks ages 10 through 19 in Richmond City. And yeah, come check us out at www.podiumrva.org.
All right, and we go to Warren Buffett's own niece, Saa'dia. How's it going?
It's going great. Thank you for having me. Saa'dia Douglas with Prosperity Financial Services. I'm here to help you achieve financial freedom, whether that is within your personal taxes, budgeting, or within your business. Give me a call. Look up my website. It's right here, www.pfsurcpa.com. All
right, and Saa'dia has the middle square, and she's the upper middle part of the middle class. We're glad to have her on the show. All right, Adrienne, how's it going?
Hey, world, this is Misunderstood Adrienne. I am the CEO of IMA Industry. We are the guaranteed culture and climate specialist. We are guaranteed to change the culture of your life. And I'm also the author of the new book, Surviving Tough Times. On your march, get set, go. Hey, I see them coming around. coming to a city near you.
Yes, that's right. If you guys are looking for somebody to come out and do book signing, she's the one. She's got a book for you. The man, the myth, the legend. We go to Kevin.
Ladies and gentlemen on the planet, I'm with some of the most brilliant, smart people on the planet. You're looking at them right now on the network. Hey, Kevin Vaughan, welcome to your future. Ladies and gentlemen, CEO and founder of the MLT Global Network. Ladies and gentlemen, that's MLTnetworks.net. And the bet is on you. What is the bet? The bet is business, education, training, and technology. That's where we help you at. Looking forward to working with you soon. Thank you so much.
All right, and now we go to the mayor of West Virginia, Tanya Harper.
Hello, everybody. I'm Tanya from Martinsburg, West Virginia, one of the founders of Gappy Hands Outreach, where we support the community in a variety of programs. So hello, everybody.
All right, and I am Stephen Walker, the owner of the state of Texas. That's right, I own the state. I'm also the owner of Manifest Media, and we are graphic design, a business coaching company, and it is at mypurposemypower.com that we do what we do. So check us out. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the stories for today. There's a lot happening to the middle class. First off, we want to thank ATS and Mexit, that's educating the population and letting them know exactly what they need to do to exit the middle class. And I always want to throw a shout out to Antonio T. Smith Jr., the leader of All That Is Free. Let's go, people. Let's go ahead and get to the show tonight. And let's see. The first up is Kevin. Kevin, what is going on with electric vehicles?
Ladies and gentlemen on the planet, let's talk about transportation. Let's go back in history for a time. At one time, we were walking. At one time, we were talking. At one time, we were riding horses. The next came was the vehicle, right? The motor vehicle came along. Next came some trucks. Next came some planes and trains. You don't think that electric cars ain't coming, folks? Electric vehicles may be the biggest change in 100-year plus history in the auto industry. That's according to the experts. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That's a clue to get some business, to make some money. I'm going to tell you why in a second. I'm going to hear from everybody else. I'm going to read you a little bit, a little bit of a part of the article. This is it. Like it or not, ladies and gentlemen, it is soon to be end of the road for the internal combustion engine. Can you believe it? By 2025, that's another clue. The UBS predicts that 20% of all new vehicles, car vehicles sold globally, will be electric. I love it. That number is expected to jump to about 50% about 2030. And some experts predict 100% of all cars will be electric by 2040. Another clue, ladies and gentlemen, another clue. Last but not least, I want to share with you, because we got to figure out who's doing what, right? We got to go by who's doing what. The global giants are doing it. GM has vowed to make only electric vehicles by 2035. Amazing. Ford said it will only sell electric vehicles in Europe by 2030. Volkswagen recently doubled its plans and its VW brand by saying it's going to do it by 2030. 70% of its total European vehicle sales will be battery electric, just to name a few. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a clue and we got opportunity.
All right, let's take it to Vicky. Vicky, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, one thing I'm excited about is, I know that it might change, it might change. It's definitely going to change the landscape of what we think about when we think about car manufacturing. But that doesn't mean, it's necessarily a bad thing. We're still going to need, folks to really engage and really be part of this process. So on a consumer end, I'm excited because if we have electric vehicles, there's less need for fewer parts, like things like oil changes, spark plugs, mufflers, things that cost us lots of money, that, are really kind of centered on that oil, gas, process. And I'm also excited that, even though, we know that it will definitely cost us some jobs, there's also a lot of opportunities. I mean, we were talking a few weeks ago about having the need then for electric charge stations to be put up all across the nation. There's going to be folks that need to build, install, maintain, the new infrastructure, the new manufacturing industry, with this electric change. So I'm excited to see, just how this changes, what we as people who, engage in building, this industry, and also we as consumers who are going to be, myself, my car is like 10 years old, 12 years old. And I'm going to be honest with you, a little bit of it has a little bit of duct tape, just holding up a little side, just the tiniest little bit there. My tire, my rim's just a little too big. Gotta, so, some of us are going to be in the market here looking for a car pretty soon. And I think, there's things we need to really consider. If we're going to be completely electric by 2035, that's not too far out.
All right. So you heard it from Vicky. All you need is some AA batteries and 9-volt battery, and you're good to go. Marquise, what you got, buddy?
Yes, I have a situation here. And my situation is I'm trying to figure out why did they not push it forward a bit quicker? Because we live right now in an environment that everything is relatively still shut down. We need an economic boost. And I know that was a part of the $2.3 trillion infrastructure package, but they should have pushed this a bit harder to get the infrastructure, because we're going to lose jobs in the automotive industry. So in order to balance that and then to kick that up, they really do need to push a bit harder. I think 2030, I mean, that's a good number, but we need a sharp growth in this country. And in the automotive industry, it is that's a huge industry. We have no idea. The other concern is when we are building these cars, where are we getting our resources from? Where are we getting the parts from? Are they American parts, or are we going to just rely on the Chinese and then complain about it when they leapfrog us?
Very good point. All right, let's take it to the Congress. Congress, if you have something to say, I'll mute you and I will call on you. What about you guys? What do you think? Is this a good thing, bad thing? What's the pros and the cons? What do you guys think? Jerome.
What's going through my mind as Marquis was speaking is we should have done this sooner. Okay, I'm with you on that one, Marquis. You know what's going through my brain right now? All of the combustion engines that we have right now in cars and trucks and automobiles, what are we going to do with those once all this electricity ramps up? What are we going to do with those vehicles and the resources that are going to be needed to maintain them? Is gasoline going to be so skyrocketed I can't afford it, but I can't afford a new car? I mean, they need to give me some more information about this whole blanket of how they're going to do this, because you're talking about transitioning from combustion to electric, and I don't have a problem with that because it's going to clean the environment and whatever. But guess what? That's a big animal right there. That's a big element to chew at one time. And I know you got to do it a bite at a time, but y'all got to give me some more information. This is not enough information, Kevin. I'm sorry.
Good point. Good point. I mean, if you think about it, the one thing you cannot stop is progress. And oftentimes with progress, people get left behind. So we don't want the middle class to get left behind. Good point. What are they going to do with all of those vehicles and all those engines? And we already have a problem with pollution and trash and all that. So is there a plan for that? Can you recycle them? And can they be a part of this new economy that's coming, Marquis?
My question is, where are they getting the energy from to power these vehicles? Because we know that we do have clean energy. And what's interesting is that people lop in clean energy as being nuclear energy when we know that ain't clean. So, where are we getting this energy from? I mean, I would say, hey, we need to have a moratorium on nuclear power. We need to go back and because when they came about with nuclear power, they said, oh, your power bill is going to be less because it makes such an abundance of energy. You're only going to pay like $2 a month. Look at us now. I just got a bill for $400. Nuclear power, where is my discount? All right. And I'm sorry. I had a hot flash, man. I got to go.
That's all right. That's all right. We appreciate your honesty there in Indianapolis, Indiana. Let's talk reality for a second. Now, who of you in the group have had, just by show of hand, either been in an electric car, have an electric car, or know about the electric car and the electric car introduction into a population? Who in here? Sure. Okay, Saa'dia, unmute yourself for a second. So can you share with us your experience with that?
Absolutely. In working at the Science Museum, we, spearheaded having an electric vehicle. Our director drove one, our CEO. And also we had charging stations for those who worked around us. They could come and charge their electric vehicle so they could go home. The electric vehicles initially started where you had to have this, get your home, this huge little setup for your home to plug into it. Now it's much easier. You don't have to go through as much. It's not as expensive. So they're trying to remove those barriers.
All right. And so from what I understand, if you need a jump, if you got an electric car, if you need a jump, just get one of those CPR paddle things you rub together and clear, and it just comes right on. So get you one from the hospital. They're free. They hang it on the wall. You can get it. All right. So you guys just on the call, who here would get an electric car today if it was affordable? Raise your hand. Okay. Yeah, we got 3.5. All right. All right. So, okay, Adrian. All right. So we want, this is coming. Okay. All right. So let's deal with this. Let's deal with this reality. All right. Because I didn't see enough hands raised. And I need to prepare that part of the middle class with this reality. Think about this. Think about if we were talking about computers coming to, if computers were coming to America. They hadn't come here yet. It's something brand new. And I was asking, we had a TV show and I was saying, there's this thing called computers that's coming. Who would get one if it was affordable? 3 people raised their hand. That technology is coming whether you like it or not, and it's going to be here and take over. So you may not be an early adapter, but you have to be a person that's early educated. You got to know that this is coming and how it impacts your life. Because if you think you're going to be able to drive your car around with gas, or you're going to get on a bus with gas, or diesel, it's not going to happen, right? So we do need to know what that means. What's the economic impact of having this come to your city? What does it mean in terms of transportation? What does it mean in terms of your own pocket? Like Marquis said, he had no idea that it would be, instead of it being, a low bill, it would be, basically paying for a college education every month to pay for what he's getting right now, right? So we gotta know the issue. So now my question to you is there anyone that is just resistant to electric car? They just don't want an electric car. They won't have nothing to do with it. All right, good. So no, we do got one. All right. Yes, Adrian. All right, so we're gonna deal with the mic. We're gonna deal with the mic. Let's see, can't unmute your guests because they chose to mute themselves. Oh, there you go.
Thank you. This is what I'm saying. Are y'all there? They just didn't want to hear me say this. I just had one question. When the power goes out, what happens?
Great question. So, Saa'dia, are there cells? Can you charge up other cells that's not in your car that you can then switch out the cells? Does it work like that?
They're actually working on.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they're working on sending electricity through the waves. So they have a couple different technology they're trying. One of the reasons that it's important to look at adapting to this is because our gas, oil, crude production here is, when you look at it, it's not going to be around for the great grandchildren. So they've already calculated how many years left we have. And so they want to decrease our dependence on outside of our, United States dependency, right? And so there's going to be a time that you wake up and you're going to be like, I don't have any gas in my car because it's growing scarce. That's why they went through all of these renewable bios. All this has been happening, even though we didn't hear a lot about it over the last 4 years. Our then president dismantled pretty much the EPA. So it was quiet. So it needs to be built back up. And then they need to get on about having us try to make some of these conversions. But the auto industry has already been doing this. They're still going. I mean, look at Tesla. How many of you have been to a Wawa that has charging stations?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're putting them in different places, parking decks, universities, different Wawas and different gas stations on what is it when you're on 95 and you're driving those rest centers? They're putting them there.
Yeah.
So they're trying to make it so you can charge anywhere.
Yeah, that's good because they're going to need that on long distances. We talked about that on the show before. Long distances, what do you do, right? So that's a great question, but they are trying to make those stations pop up anywhere there's a convenience store. It looks like they're adding them in there. My question, though, is say I'm out of energy, right? How long does it take to charge my car up? You have an answer for that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it takes about 2 hours to fully charge. You can have a charge. You can have a charge that is running quickly or a short boost charge. So it depends.
Let me tell you something. When you said that 2 hours, you answered the question I had. I see these people with their cars, all of them beautiful Teslas, red and white and black. I'm like, it just seemed like they're just styling, leaning back on their cars and sitting in their car. And I'm like, man, why did they just sit there? Because they got 2 hours. They got 2 hours to burn. That's why.
They can do a quick 45-minute one.
But it costs, right?
Yeah. They can do shorter periods of time. If they don't have it, they can do it on their lunch hour. A lot of times you'll see them sitting in their car and they're charging. So,
you know what? Let me tell you something. People got Teslas. They must be paid because they're not worried about their time. They're like, look, I got to charge my car. I am good to go.
They're paying about $2 to charge their car. So it's, $2. So in order to charge your car,
why you do that to me? I was good with my little joke about it. Now you got me thinking about getting a Tesla. $2?
I was an early hybrid adopter. That's what I am because I'm very conscious of our our world and what we're leaving for the future. But the way the charging
Yeah.
stations, you have a card and you swipe the card and it's about $2 to do a complete charge. So.
Well, I remember when you got that car and the first time I was in it, I remember how quiet that car was. I was like, is your car even on? I mean, you couldn't hear nothing. So that was amazing. That was amazing. Kevin, what do you got?
Hey, real quick, I was just thinking, guy, with that 2 hours, you got to be positive about this thing. You need to have every one of your books in the car. So when you stop, you can read Adrian's book, Stephen's book, Saa'dia's book, Jerome's book, Marquis' book, and you'll be up to date. And before you know it, you'll be fully charged.
That's right. That's right, Kevin. Appreciate that. Way to go. Look, if you're just now tuning in, this is the People's Congress, and we are talking about electric cars and how it impacts the communities we live in. Hey, I'm now looking at it. I'm thinking if it's $2 to fill my car up, that's quite a savings every year. And it is talking about renewable energy. But speaking of clean energy, Tanya, what's up with this $2.6 trillion clean energy investment?
Well, with the 2.6 trillion, it kind of goes along with the story that we were just talking about, kind of intertwines together here, that they are planning to pay $2.6 trillion for the clean energy investment. Our President Biden, has put John Kerry, I know everybody remember him, over this appointment to do this. And for somehow the U.S. Department of Energy has $400 billion sitting in a loan program waiting to take a part of this as well. And you have the major EV, the energy cars that the G Motors, Tesla, the Focus Drive and so forth, that all are, getting their hands in it. So they can make sure that they have a piece of the pie. They want to make sure that, they make the best car that there is. So when the consumers are ready to purchase their vehicles, they're in the process of trying to make the best vehicles. So we have, different options to buy. One thing I did notice in the article, though, is that I know California, there's a city in California that's actually going to be banning the gasoline cars starting, I think, by 2026, I believe it said, that they can no longer, I guess, in that little area, have gasoline cars. You will have to have these new electric vehicles.
By what year was that again?
To 2026. Around the same time everything else is going to be happening.
All right. Okay. I mean, you know what? They're trying to be progressive. They're trying to push the agenda forward. And they, when you talk about the companies are trying to get in position to take advantage of it, it's no surprise to me that California will be the first, because that's probably where those billionaires live. So, and you know what they say, the rich get richer and the poor get educated so they can get theirs. Come on now. That's what we're all about here at ATS. So it's time to get educated on this issue. Now let's talk about that. It's amazing that they have $2.6 trillion with an extra $400 billion sitting in their back pocket. Wow, that money. I have never, and I've been alive 50 years on this here planet Earth, I have never heard of so much money being made available in such a short amount of time. Is it just me, or come on, Congress, help me out? And nobody's helping me out. All right, so sometimes you just got to go alone. You just got to go ahead, Marquis.
All I was going to say is you got to find out who's making the money on this thing, because we all know electric cars have been around since the early 1900s. And one of the reasons why they didn't do it is because they couldn't capitalize off of it. And they've kept it that way up until now. So, when the newest technology comes out like it is now, you better believe that they are ready to turn the page and capitalize off of it before they give it to the public. And being one of these people who are looking for the next best thing, I want to be right there when they turn the page. So I'm going to get mine just like the rest of them. And I suggest everybody here need to follow suit. Let's get on the thing. Let's roll. Let's go.
Let's get on the thing and let's roll. Kevin, what you got?
Hey, that's a great point. Actually in Georgia, ladies and gentlemen, there's a city called Peachtree City, and their inner city part is just right now it's electric golf carts. So, it's just a matter of time, just makes sense. So in the localized area of a community, it makes sense, as you can imagine, to do that. And then, of course, it'll expand out later. But the second part of that, guys, is innovation. It's an area for opportunity for us to engage in too as well, to get ahead of the curve. We've got information now, and now you can start looking at where you can invest, where you may want to start a business in, an opportunity. You can work with city governments in certain area and maybe be a business that will provide a certain service for that need. So believe me, a lot of the contracts and a lot of the proposals are going to come out where you can now capitalize on this run on these electric vehicles, guys. Be aware, be looking out for it.
All right, Jerome. I hear Liberty University is in the news.
Oh boy, they're definitely in the news. Based on the article that I read pertaining to Mr. Jerry Falwell Jr., he had to leave as president of Liberty University under a shadow of controversy. And it appears that the controversy had a lot to do with an affair that was going on between his wife, supposedly, allegedly, and a young man down in Florida. And this went on for about 5 years. And what he ended up doing, according to the article, was he was doing a lot of things to squelch and to keep this affair quiet and to pay off the guy who was threatening them and going to expose them. Unfortunately, in the process, the college was upset because they didn't know this was going on. And considering that Liberty University, for those of you out there who do not know, it is a religious college, and it's been around a long time. And unfortunately, if you are running a university that is religious in nature, you don't want controversy like this overshadowing and making you look bad. So once he stepped down, the folks at the college came after him, and now there's a $1 million lawsuit coming after him to say, hey, here's what you did when you were here. We're going to come after you. You got some equipment that belongs to us. We want it back. I mean, it's just really getting really, really ugly, and that's really unfortunate. Here's the sad part of the article for me. Okay. Because as soon as I saw this article, what got me folks, and I'm not speaking for anybody else, I'm speaking for Jerome, I happen to be a Christian, okay? So because I'm a Christian, articles like this get my attention.
Yeah.
The sad part was, immediately when I saw the article, I thought about his father, Mr. Jerry Falwell Sr., who started the Moral Majority. And over a 10-year period, they basically wreaked havoc in politics. Really wreaked havoc in politics. And it got ugly and it got bad. And people, they were getting millions of people supporting them and influencing politics when there's supposed to be a separation, church and state. And then I said, again, it's like father, like son. So I'm telling you, Stephen, when I saw this article, I went, wait a minute, his father was very controversial with the Moral Majority and all the controversy that went with that. And here the son is coming again, and we do it under the skies of the church. God, all of that. So sad. So that's what got me with the article.
Well, I'm also a Christian, and I will tell you that the Bible is not without controversy, period. From the beginning to the end, there's been issues and all types of relational problems. So that's just rampant, I'm sure, in every religion on the planet, and every people group, I'm sure, that has issues. But it is a sad thing that's happening. Marquis, what do you got on this?
Brother, when I was reading this, I was like, ooh, oh, no, you didn't. Ooh, that's how it read. If y'all haven't read it, you need to go back and read it, because you got sex, you got a perversion, you got extortion. I mean, it read like some crap you see over television. I mean, but it's reality. I mean, this is the lives of real people. The university is pissed. I don't blame them. The whole Christian base is fired up and pissed, and people are feeling betrayed, seriously. And depending on how young they are in their walk of faith, they may take a step back from their religion. But come on, it's not about the religion in the first place. It's about your relationship with God, and that's what you have to, regardless of what happens to man, you have to have that relationship with God. But I ain't preaching, just saying.
That's all right. That's all right. I would just throw this out to the people that, be careful how harshly you judge the situation, especially from a Christian standpoint, because if you are a Christian, then I just want to remind you, have you heard of David, King David? I mean, it sounds kind of familiar what's happening right here. So don't trip. It ain't like this is the first time this has ever happened, but how they handle it from this point is going to be important. The transparency, and we're talking about people's lives. I mean, this man's wife committed adultery on him, 5 years. He tried to hide it, I guess, to save face for his family and for the school. It backfired, and it is unfortunate. So, so yeah, I think that you guys should also consider those things as well. Saa'dia, what do you got?
The article actually went into some detail on some other items, that it's not just that his wife cheated, obviously. It's not that they tried to pacify someone who was blackmailing them. I mean, that's not new. But what they're trying to say is that while he was there, because he knew his contract was ending in 2019, that he started changing some of the severance policies. He started increasing, padding his way out so that he knew when he left, he would have a good package. So that's part of what they're suing for. It has very little to do with the wife and more to do with, not only did he do that, which is against a moral code, and he did hide what happened with his wife. They felt like that when he took a picture with his pants unzipped
remember, we have children on the show. I just we don't.
There was nothing showing. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
was in the news. Just because someone else did it, that was a moral fallacy. And then they're looking at the fact that, he became very close to Trump. And so they felt like that impacted their brand. In addition to that, there were schools who did not receive money out of the CARES Act because they were proving they didn't care for the children by having them come to school on campus. So they feel like that also was an issue for them. And so when you look at their lawsuit, I believe it's so much more involved.
Sure.
And to me, less to do with us being a Christian, more to do with, you left me, and now because you left me, I'm mad. And you tried to pad yourself on the way out.
They caught him. Yeah, they started looking at everything he was doing. So, Kevin, what you got?
Yeah, from the leadership standpoint, guys, I understand the story and read it earlier, actually. And what I was concerned about was the impact to the students, the impact of folks who went there for education. And now they got to figure out, if some of them have to leave or something happens where they can't be there anymore, they now got to figure out what to do with their life that they've already planned out to finish at that location. So, that's why it's important for us as leaders to know what impact we have on others, not so much on ourselves, but on others that we got to pay attention to. So I was a little concerned about the impact to the students that were there and what they're going to do with their lives. And as you know, it could affect them mentally, obviously physically, and of course, financial is not even important, but it is important. But I'm talking about the mental side of that area where you don't know what to do now. Where am I going to go? Can't go back home. A lot of things there. So we're concerned about that as well.
Well, I mean, it is a Christian university, and so we are talking about a test of faith. It's in these times that you come to realize who you're trusting in. It may be a Christian college, but there's a lot of colleges founded on Christian principles, and they are no way Christian at all right now. So, that's the thing. It's just, anytime you have humans, you're going to have issues. And this is just one of those issues. He was a leader. It'll be interesting to see how the story plays out and what they actually get into for the actual lawsuit and how that comes out. But, people have to be careful not to cast the first stone, because it could come to your university. And I'm sure there's a lot of people in a lot of universities doing a lot of bad stuff. And he's just the first one that they're getting. So yeah, but I think it's going to be a domino effect. We probably will see more of this story in the news. All right, before we move on, are there anything else you guys want to share on this story? All right, then let's go ahead. Saa'dia, Nike. What's happening with Nike?
Well, it's kind of ironic that Nike just got into the crosshairs of Bernie Sanders, who said that they haven't been paying taxes, that we pay more taxes for a $120 pair of shoes than Nike has paid. It's funny, my kids paid $200 for a pair of shoes. I don't know which ones they're selling for 120.
Wow.
But when you look at it, Nike decided to clap back.
Oh, not a clap back.
Yes, they did. And they put out a report that said, hey, we have been paying our fair share of taxes. We pay taxes, and we have paid taxes not only locally, but to the state, to federal taxes. So they feel like that, they have paid 9.1 billion in U.S. taxes since 2016. And when the Jobs Act of 2017, which a lot of people don't really know about, made it so that, they wouldn't have to pay some of their taxes, they still have to pay a transition tax of $1.1 billion that was imposed through 2025.
Wow.
So they feel like they are still paying their proper taxes.
So in total, they paid how much in taxes?
So they paid over a period of time 9.1 billion for the last 5 years.
Okay.
Right now, they've paid 300 million of the 1.1 billion that they're supposed to pay in transition taxes.
All right, so let me just, middle class, we're going to slow down. We're going to take a second. We're going to take a moment, and we're going to understand how taxes work. Taxes is a percentage of the revenue that you generate. Is that right, Saa'dia?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine
Correct.
if they're paying that much in taxes, how much they making in revenue? What would be your guess on that, Saa'dia?
I would know average tax, depending on this company, they might be paying around 20%. But the thing is that companies find all kind of ways not to pay
Loophole.
taxes. So yeah, who knows
All
how
right.
much they're really making? But they
All
do
right,
have
so
72,000 employees, so they're making quite a bank.
yeah, I'm just take a stab at a number. I think they're making somewhere between $133 quadrillion per month. Yeah. I mean, if you think about how much they pay out to the people who their spokespeople, how much they're paying in millions and billions in advertising. I mean, it's just they're making a lot of money. But you know what? Hey, we're in America, capitalism. If you can make the product, make it cheaper, and sell it, and people buy it, it's all good. So it's time for us to get in that game and play that same game. Go ahead, Saa'dia.
I did look it up, and as of February 28th of 2021, they had made 10.4 billion, which was a 2.5% increase year over year. And then when you look at every year for the 12 months preceding that, which was during the pandemic, they made 38.5 billion, which they felt
Okay.
was a decline, a 6.7% decline.
Okay,
So
so they just made a little less than ATS did. Okay, I got you. All right.
Yes.
Yes. So, all right, go ahead. Finish this. It sounds like you have more to share.
I just think it's very interesting because you know what? You can't damage Nike, okay? Nike has a support of, I don't care what color you are. I don't care. The older people tend not to wear Nike. They stick with their New Balances for comfort and
Those
width.
big cushions, they love those cushions.
Yeah. But just about everybody else, I know in my closet, I probably have 6 or 7 pair of Nikes. Just want another pair. And so they're here to say you can't really damage their brand.
No, they got a good brand. I mean, they've done good business. They've tried their best to stay on the positive side of the news. But yeah, this is just something new that's coming out. But it's not gonna hurt them a bit. It's like a fly on their shoulder, just flicking at. They're not even worried about that. They're gonna. Matter of fact, this is free advertising for them. To be honest with you. So, and it's just going to mobilize their supporters to say, "What are you trying to do to our brand?" Right? So people are brand loyal. All right, let's take a poll right now. I want to see this. Who is a Nike supporter here? Like that's your brand. Nike is your brand. Let's see. Show of hands. All right, 4. All right, 4. Okay, and there's 3 women and only 1 man that's strong enough to say it. I got it. I understand. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at Adrian. Adrian, now something's happening with cryptocurrencies. I heard you got a top 5 for us. Nope, you got to unmute. You got to hit the unmute button. All right, people, bear with us. We got her. There we go. Yeah.
There we go. Just for the record, that MS understood says that I have multiple sclerosis, y'all. And with all of this boo technology where my nerves don't hit the thing and it don't go right, y'all better bear with me and just hold your breath and be like, she coming. Just be with me, because I'll be with you like,
we with you. We got you. We got your back, Adrian. Congress has your back.
Embracing all of this, okay?
Okay.
Y'all know about this crypto thing now. I'm gonna tell you just like this. Now, this article, y'all need to figure out what this article is telling me about, because I don't know. But I'm gonna report to you what I heard from the article. All I know is crypto. Crypto is doing a whole lot, okay? Crypto is doing a whole lot. You need to get in on it. The best thing about the Congress is that we are going to do crypto together. And when we take this class, we are going to get empowered together. And guess what? Your girl's going to know something else. But for right now, I'm going to tell you what they see. They said Bitcoin. They call it B. Do I have to give you all of the names?
No.
Right. Because this is what I want to tell you. Before the end of this night, you are going to know that if you see ABCs flipped out in your news, pay attention, because they're talking about these new coins. They just giving them all these other different types of codes so that we don't really know that they made up a new crypto and it is coming. So I'm going to run it down like this. Bitcoin is the one that we know. And then there is a Ethereum. Ethereum. It starts with an E, y'all, but I think it's called Ethereum.
All right.
Ethereum. All right. Then there's a Litcoin. I want to say it's Litcoin because he's halfway coming up and he ain't nowhere near where the Bitcoin is.
That one's Litecoin.
I was about to say, I wanted to say he was lit, but he ain't nowhere near bit. So he's just a Litecoin.
And the other one was Ethereum, just to
Ethereum. Okay.
Got it. That's right. See, I know we have CPAs on here. We gonna get the real. We gonna get the real deal.
Just helping my girl. It's like Latin in the Bible, you know. You like
the other one. The other one is called Ripple. I know what that one was, but I know one thing. Ripple only has like 1.12%. So Ripple is like not even rippling in the water. You know what a ripple is? Like a little bit of a little bit of a move. This ripple ain't rippling, okay? So I'm just letting you know that when you're paying attention, Bit was number one. The Ethereum was the number two. And then the Litecoin was way down in the bottom. And then, like I said, Ripple didn't even make a bump. And there was one, it's called EOS. I'm gonna say it's EOS because remember, EOS is like that thing where we put the stuff on your face and the nice soft EOS. Yeah. I know EOS. It's at the bottom, but I know EOS.
All right, so Ripple, I think, is owned by Fred Sampson. Yeah, that was his favorite brand. All right, thank you, Marquis, for a little bit of knowledge. Appreciate that. All right, so let's talk about this. I mean, this is what we know when it comes to cryptocurrency. We've been covering this for like the last 4 or 5 weeks on this show, right? What is your thoughts on cryptocurrency? What do you guys think? Let's go to the Congress. Kevin, what do you got?
No doubt about it, guys. I have to learn this. That's the first thing. I want to learn this information that ATS has, the Mexican team has. I need to learn what in the world we're talking about here, because you're right. When my money goes out, I want to know where it's going, why it's going. If I make money, I want to know why I made it. If I don't make money, I want to know why I lost it. So I think we got a class that we all going to soon, so we can learn it from the ATS system, get the knowledge, and then make it happen, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm excited about.
All right, so our viewers, just in case you didn't see that show, I challenged our Congress to get to know what cryptocurrency is, so that not only can we educate you on it, but so that we can get educated, because this is certainly where you can start investing for your family, for your future. But you got to get up on that knowledge. You got to get on the knowledge, and you got to know what you're talking about, and don't just waste money. We got to make informed decisions as a group, so we can lift the whole middle class up and out of here. Saa'dia, what do you got?
I wanted to talk to just to tag with Adrian on this article. It was chock full of so much information. And I did find it interesting that the article was talking about how the Bitcoin and mining the Bitcoin, how it went through a dip and they feel like it didn't recover sufficiently. And even today, when I saw some of the numbers come out, there were drops in it. So it's the volatility, it goes up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
One of the things that you do note, though, is that it does have an upward trajectory, even though it's bouncing like it's on a hill. And so the question they want to know is, was Bitcoin's failure to rebound, a sign? And so right now, people are selling, people are buying. It depends on the day. So we'll definitely have to tune in because it's not just Bitcoin. It's VChan's, it's Fibonacci, which is a new one. I like Fibonacci, so I might just buy it.
Just by the name, I'm ready to buy that one.
I know. I'm like, they did something to appeal to us. And then in Virginia, we have something called the SOLs. Well, guess what? There's an SOL. It's called Solana. And so they're looking at all of these and they just think it was a market correction. And they're interested to see what's going to happen over the next few months with this. Wow.
Okay. Well, you heard it first here that the Fibonacci's out, people. Let's do some investigation and let's see what we can do to make sure that we get in on some of that. Because you know what? It's out there, and you better buy low and sell high. Ride it out as far as you can. Let's see. Telly, you have something.
Yes, I'm surprised in that article it didn't cover Dogecoin, especially since it's been in the news a lot. And I wonder if the dip in Bitcoin is because
you see him, Telly. You see him. He said,
Dogecoin.
Don't tell nobody.
We're not trying to tell nobody about Dogecoin. We want to get that.
Oh,
yeah. We didn't report on that because we didn't want nobody else to know.
You make a
good point because
we can edit that out. I never said anything.
Though? You're right. They should have been right
there. Good evening,
there.
America. Nothing here. Nothing.
So yeah, Dogecoin is an issue. That's one of the ones we've been following too. You guys have been watching the show, so we've been kind of following and tracking with that one too. But like Saa'dia said, there's new ones popping up, and they're going to be continually new ones. There may even be new ones in places you don't even know that's coming, but you just watch and see because we're not playing here over here at the message. We're trying to get in on big coins and figure out how to deal with this cryptocurrency. So I was going to poll to see how many of you guys have cryptocurrency, but we're not going to do it right now until after we do the class. Once we do the class, then I'm asked the question. All right. So that's the challenge out here to my peoples. All right. So let's go ahead to Telly. If you invested $1,000 in Chronos stock 1 year ago, what would happen?
Oh, there would be some return. So with Chronos, it's important to know what it is. So it's a Canadian-based cannabis company. And 50% of their financial backing is through Altria Group, which is a tobacco giant. They battled through a difficult market just in Canada alone. And then when you introduce the pandemic, it really put them under. But despite the difficulty, they did see a sales growth of 133%, which is good. Their goal is to launch a lab-grown cannabis by the end of this year. And with having Altria as their main investor or shareholder, it allows them to leverage the exposure in the cannabis space. So if you did invest in Chronos at the beginning of 2020, it started at $7.90. Then when the pandemic hit, it plummeted or declined to about $5.89. Midway through the year, it fluctuated between $8 and $13, but it stalled right before the November election. So after Joe Biden was elected, there was a market soar amid the U.S. cannabis legislation. So if you invested $1,000 in Chronos last April, you would see a return of $1,378 today.
You see my face. I am very underwhelmed by that total.
Right.
Okay, so I mean, you you were leading up and building up and building up. I was waiting for the crescendo. You about to hit it.
Yes,
you like,
exactly.
And you basically got $37 extra.
You had to provide all of that information thinking that you was about to just triple your profits, only to just get $400 later, if that.
Hey, but real talk. When it comes to stocks, you got to look. You have to have long focus when it comes to stocks. It's not about making quick money.
Absolutely.
It's not. So that's something that you really got to know, middle class. We're not getting into this game to make quick money. It's not a get rich quick scheme, right? So I think that what you have to do is you have to look at when you're making investments, you got to talk to someone who knows what they're doing, and they've been in it for a long time. Not no one new. Don't do that. That'll mess your money up. You'll be mad at it. You won't ever get into the game again. But you can learn how to do it if you get educated. That's what's important. From A to Z, understanding what it means to buy stock, hold stock, and sell stock. All right. And once you get that, now you can make an informed decision. And now it's on you, because now you know a little bit about what you're doing. So if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. Don't get out there just waste. You work too hard for your money, middle class. Let's not waste it. All right, Congress, let's talk about it. Stocks. Who in here has owned stocks or currently owns stocks? Has or currently owns stocks? All right, good. Oh, good. So yeah, the middle class is represented. Adrian, stop playing. The middle class is. I want to see what kind of stock you have. I want to see.
I'm about to say I got my little $27 stock out of this Kronos. What you mean? I thought Kronos was going to really do some popping. I thought Kelly was about to tell us something different. Listen, I thought Telly was about to tell me something different. I thought she was about to say, I read this wrong. I'm like, Vicky, I need some more zeros up in this joint. This is not a return.
Exactly.
Happened? But no, I just wanted to say the problem with this one is, like you said, you better get in on it, because this is just the beginning of something, because you got to remember, this was the COVID. People didn't know what to do. And because of the fact that we were so stuck inside, we weren't allowed to go into the field and do what we needed to do to get the buds the way that we needed to get them. So don't be slipping on this $27.
But you know what, for real though, if you take some money,
catch me next year.
If you got money to invest in the stock, invest it and leave it there. Don't even be concerned about it, ups and downs and trends and all. Just let it go. And then you're going to see over a period of time, 6 months, a year, the trends, ups and downs and everything. So you'll be able to understand how that stock is operating better. And then when you're ready, you know it's coming, it's going back up and you're ready to sell it. When it gets as high as you feel like it, then sell it. But at least you're playing it right. But don't look at getting stock and then selling it quick, because that's not what you're supposed to do. And I've owned stock, and I be honest with you, I was given stock options when I got hired for Radio One. I had a nice little package. And I left it there, and I didn't even pay no attention for it. As long as I worked for them, I didn't even pay no attention. And when I left there, I was able to get all that money right there, even though my CPA didn't think I should do it the way I did it. But when I saw what I had in there, I took all of that right on up out of there. I was like, it's been there long enough. Let me get my money. I should have reinvested that somewhere else to make even more money for me. But hey, you live and you learn. That's what it's all about. All right, people. So anybody got any tips or insight on stocks? Anybody? Just raise your hand. Anybody? Nobody? Okay. All right. So we're gonna move on. And okay. Oh, Saa'dia, you raise your hand. Let's go.
Did y'all see that? Y'all see that shade? All right, Middle America, we doing things.
Got cloudy for a second.
I know, right? So what I want to say is, it's awesome to get involved in stocks, but if you don't understand puts and trades and stops, I would rely on a financial advisor. I would not try this alone. You know how they tell the children, don't try this at home? I would not try this on my own, even though we have all of these apps that encourage you to do that. A lot of times you lose money. Okay. I'm just being honest. I had a millennial. My son, in case he sees this, I wasn't talking about you, baby. That I helped with some of his calls and puts so that he could make money. He made $900 in a day. Do you know he cashed it out and said, "Oh, I'm gonna use it for my rent"? I said, people aren't going to know you're my child. What do you mean?
I know which one you're talking about. She got twin boys that way.
Yes. I said, you're supposed to reinvest. As a matter of fact, don't take it out. All of these short-term moves, if you don't understand the implications, you're messing up. And so you put it in there and you allow long-term view, like Steven said, if you decide to cash out because something is good, reinvest it. You do not want to pay a 10% penalty on top of your 10% tax of taking the money out. So, let's say you take out $100. Well, you just gave 20 of it to Uncle Sam. He didn't need that money. Okay.
You're like a payday lender.
Payday lender. And this kind of ties just a little bit because the CARES Act, what they ended up doing after the CARES Act for the second act is they said that if you took any money out of your retirement plan that was related to COVID, you didn't have to have COVID, but COVID could have caused you financial distress or what have you. A lot of people took advantage of this that they shouldn't have. But people pulled hundreds of thousands of dollars. I know, people who personally pulled out 90,000, 60,000. And so they're going to be having cat food when they get older, but we're not going to talk about that. But they took
don't trip though. Cat food is like tuna fish. Stop playing.
Okay. So they took their money out, short-term thinking, and kept it and spent it on whatever because the government waived the 10% penalty. But you still paid tax on it. So for every dollar you pay 10-cent tax on it. So I would not have even done that because it's not worth it. Now, if this was your only result, if you had no other course of action, I understand. But other people took advantage of it. So I would encourage people not to do that, just to go ahead and invest for your retirement and let it go.
All right, people, there's only one place you can go to get information like that, and that is Prosperity Financial Services with Saa'dia Douglas. All right, Kevin, what do you got? What are you putting in? What do you got?
Hey, I'll tell you, this is why it's so important to have Saa'dia with us, ladies and gentlemen. That is where you want to start. Get to know a CPA, certified CPA, ask their opinion, and make your decision after that. But then on top of that, you better get some education too about the stocks, ladies and gentlemen. You have to do that. You can YouTube that one, guys. You can learn as much as you can. After you do that, I would call Saa'dia and get with her on what you found out, get some information, and then make your decision. The third thing and last thing, guys, discretionary fund. Don't play with your real money. Play with the play money. Please do that, okay? Unless you just want to do that and give yourself some extra stress and maybe get your family a little excited about you. But the point is, discretionary income, don't mess with your regular bill money. Please don't do that. And also go to the ATS team and get the facts.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. Now, look, you guys, when it comes to making decisions like this, you got to ask, you got to get information, you got to be educated. That's what's important. And that's, look, middle class, that's what this whole show's about. The People's Congress is representing you. And you're part of the People's Congress too, so we want to hear from you. All right, so make sure you message us, you give us comments, you let us know what things that you're doing to save money in your household, and you let the rest of the People's Congress know the same thing. We need to share this information so that we all can rise together. All right, Saa'dia, what do you got for us?
So what we're talking about in this next article really dovetailed to this conversation. It was about the fact that, we have this one person had $1.6 million tied up in their 401k plan, and they want to retire a little early to enjoy their life, but they can't touch the money. So the question was, what am I to do when I am 55, not 59 and a half? I'm not retirement age, which is now 72. But I want to live a little bit. We want to stop working early. Well, some of the solutions to that is to really consider, after you've, given to, if you have a job and they offer you a plan that they're matching, giving to that, of course. But, you want to talk to your financial planner and say, is a Roth IRA something I want to do where I put it in after tax? What are some of my other options as far as being able to have money for retirement? Now, a smart thing to do is to buy a home, which you get to write off your interest when you buy it, and sell it to help fund the beginning of your retirement if you want to retire early. So if you're trying to retire early and you want to find a way that you don't have to pay taxes on that money or pay a penalty, think about it. Buy a home and sell it, and all of the profit you can live off of until your retirement age.
Oh man, now that is a Mexit moment. Come on now, that's what's up. You know, and that's that kind of information you only can get if you go to someone that has it. So you got to seek out a professional. You got to get that information. You know, something else too, and I think this is important that we begin to elevate the mindset of the middle class right here. So we're gonna park here for a second. I want to talk serious. All right. So when it comes to the middle class, a lot of us, when we get money in our hands, we get it to spend. We don't get it to save, and we certainly don't get it to invest. Okay. So if the system that we're in is set up in the reverse, then our real mindset should be when we get money in our hand, we get it to invest and we get it to save. And what's left, we have to spend. That seems like the proper order. So if we can shift the way we're thinking, and this is something that I'm now doing because I'm surrounding myself with people who are on a whole different level of understanding in business, that have a whole lot more money than me, like Antonio T. Smith Jr., making millionaires all across the world. And so I'm beginning to have my mind elevated in the process. Something hit me the other day. I had to call my CBA. I had to let her know, you know, I just realized something about the money that comes to me. That money's not mine. The money that comes to me is not mine. That money is for the people that I have to pay, the savings I have to make, and the money that I have to invest for my future. And what's left, that's mine.
I'd like to add right here, just as a commercial, it's never too late. Thank you for recognizing that it's finally not your money. It's never too late, people.
She only saying that because she's my CPA, and she should be your CPA too. So what I did was I thought about it, and this was the issue. This is what I want to talk to you guys about. Are you okay with having quarters to live on? So that was my issue. I don't want the quarters. Give me the dollars. I earned the dollars. I'm gonna give my bill collectors the quarters. They can have the pennies. And that's caused me to be in debt for 50 years of my life. And I'm not going to live the rest of my life with that type of mentality. I need to make sure that not only do I live better on a high level of financial understanding, but I'm setting that track record and that legacy for my kids, and I'm leaving something for them. I'm spending their money. That's what's happening. I'm spending their money. And if I die without any money, then they don't get nothing when I die. As a matter of fact, the only thing they get, truthfully, is the insurance money. So they be wishing you died so they can get that money. Like, you ain't leaving us no inheritance. When you gonna die, Grandpa? Go see Jesus. Just being funny, but not really. All right. So what do you guys think, though? I mean, are you guys ready to make the shift? I mean, who's found it hard to save and to invest? Be honest. Let's be honest with the people. Who's found it hard? Telly, unmute your mic. Oh, because you are the millennial and you're the hope for our future.
Yeah.
Right. So we want to talk to you. I'm glad you chimed in on this issue.
Yeah.
If you were given $10,000, how much of that $10,000? What would you do with that $10,000?
Oh.
In terms of investing, savings, give us percentages. How much would you invest? How much would you save? How much would you spend?
And what's the first thing you do with it? Don't let me down.
Well, the first thing would be to pay my tithes and offerings, if you must.
Come on, you got to get the Lord his. All right. Get the Lord his.
Yeah.
All right. So now you got 8,500.
Okay. All right. Of that, I would probably save 2,000, 2 or 3,000. Invest. Oh, I probably wouldn't have much to spend. I'd probably invest 3,000, and what that leave me with? 2,000.
3,500.
35. Oh. I think I'm gonna add more to the savings, so maybe add another 500, and then 3,000. I'll probably pay off any debts that I have. So
with that 3,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I pay off 2,500 of the debts, and it's $500. I'm getting a new hairdo, and my nails feet done.
All right, keep it real. All right. Because you know they was judging you.
It
was like, she lying. Look at her hair, her nails, and her makeup. You know she's gonna spend that money. All right, let's go to the other millennial, Vicky. How would you use your $10,000?
Vicky, help me out.
Well, listen, you have the experience with the stock investment, which I think is absolutely, listening to Saa'dia, listening to the advice of, wonderful folks on this panel. What I would try and do, I guess, if I had, I've never had $10,000 so this is y'all are throwing me out on the spot right now. I'm like, I don't know what I would do if I had 10,000 extra.
Spend and invest.
But that's, exactly. The saving plan, I don't know if y'all remember this, but a couple episodes ago, Telly actually, that was the plan that Telly actually outlined. So saving plan is something I'm 100% on board for. But that investment, and later on in the show, I know we're actually talking about some of the most, safe long-term, places that you can invest in stock, not to give it away.
Too late.
Too late. Already gave it away. But I think, so if I had some money, Kevin, what do you say? You say, disposable? What is the disposable income? Is that what I'm trying?
Income.
Discretionary. I knew it was next level. If I had that discretionary income, I would definitely look into investing into some stocks, maybe some of the cryptocurrency that we've been talking about, definitely some of that electric car energy, and then maybe some of these safe companies we're about to talk about.
All right, Vicky, let me just say something about your answer. It was very politically correct, but I'm gonna need you to be real with the people. You get 10 grand, how much are you spending on you? And then how much are you gonna have left? Now, you may not be a big spender, so correct me if I'm wrong. Just let me know.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not really, I'm a social worker. So big spending is not really in my, now I'm going to be honest with you. I turned 30 this year. And so I am letting you know, I'm going to do it upright and I'm going to Vegas. So that is,
that 10 grand is gone.
Listen, we got to be smart. You save some of that 10 grand, but am I going to take some of that if I had it to Vegas?
Of course.
Yes, I would.
Yeah. All right. Double down on it. Let's go. well, me, that 10 grand would move so fast through my hands, it would make your head spin. I guarantee you. But I'm going to flip that because I'm a hustler. So I'm going to flip that. And but I may not invest in stocks because I don't quite understand how stocks work. And that's the thing about the middle class. We have to stop making excuses for things that's going to benefit us, right? We have to stop making excuses and start learning what we don't know so we can do what we haven't done. Come on now. Woo! Preaching. Pass the offering plate. All right. So I'm not going to ask everybody in here about the $10,000. I'm sure y'all have some great answers for us, but we do want to move on to the. Oh, wait a minute, Saa'dia, were you finished on that?
No. I wanted to say what I would do with the 10,000. Thank you, Vicky, for your support.
And that is probably the most important answer for the middle class. Let's go. What you got?
Thank you. So, like Telly, giving honor to God, I pay my 10% tithe.
What about your offering?
I didn't even get to go there yet. Then I would give an offering over to Podium RVA to help the children with their reading. I would definitely support Podium. And then after that, I would actually split the difference, put the rest in my savings to help go towards my emergency money. And then I would take that other half and talk to my financial advisor and invest it. Because see,
so wait a minute. Give me a rundown again.
Let me explain this.
You did your offering. You did your donation to Podium.
Yes.
All right, now, what did you do
if it's money I didn't have to begin with, why would I spend it on frivolous things? I didn't have it to begin with. So I need to count it as gone. So I would pay my tithe on it. That's 10%. And then I would probably give another 20% in donation over to Vicky at Podium RVA. And then I would take the remaining 70 and split it 35 to 35, put 35% into my emergency fund savings because we don't know what the world is going to do.
Okay, I got you.
And the other 35, I would just go ahead and invest because I didn't have the money to begin with. Why would I blow it?
Now, see, that's what I love about Saa'dia. See, did you hear what she said, people? This is the kind of stuff that will just pass you by if you're not listening. She said, that wasn't my money anyway. That money just came into my life. So I need to use it more wisely, right? So that's a great strategy. Thank you so much for that. Give her a hand. This Maxine moment brought to you by Prosperity Financial Services, and she does get the Maxine Award for the night. All right, good job. All right, so I'm not going to ask Marquis what he would do with it because I think the FBI is already looking for him, so we won't give him another reason to do it.
I got an answer for you, bro.
Go ahead, man. What you got?
Well, actually, I got a bit more, and I'm going to tell you something about education. Education is pivotal at any time, at any stage in your life, and I'm going to tell you a story about my problem, my situation. I think it was last year or not too long. Yeah, last year sometime, oil dipped below $0 a barrel. And I was not in a position to capitalize off of that because I didn't have the information to do it. Even though I was looking at it, even though I heard about it, I couldn't do it because I didn't have the connections to do it, and I didn't have the head knowledge to do it. So guess what happened? By the time I got my money in the system, it was already recovering. It was already too late. So had I bought oil while it was like negative $60 a barrel.
Come on.
Right now, it's probably $40 or $50 a barrel. Imagine where I would be right now.
Well, you know what? I think a good place for you to be right now is Australia. Nice little segue over to your story. What's happening with Australia?
Excuse me. Well, in Australia, they have a quarantine-free travel bubble that's opening up between Australia and New Zealand. And if you guys didn't know, Australia and New Zealand, they are just pretty much neighbors. And they have people always just going back and forth. It is not a surprise to me that they did something like this because they're basically like neighboring states. And from what the article read, they're hoping that this will be part of the recovery with COVID. So
okay.
I reached out to a friend of mine just to get her thoughts and opinions on this travel bubble opening up between Australia and New Zealand.
And where's she located?
She is located in Western Australia, a place called Perth, Australia. And one of these days, I'm going to go down there. I've always enjoyed Australia. I always wanted to go, but I have friends down there.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Let's play the clip. Let's take a listen.
From Perth, Australia. It's Monday morning, the 26th, and this morning we're speaking on the travel bubble between Australia and New Zealand. Well, they have painted a lovely big sign that says welcome. That's a nice heartwarming touch. Greeting all the passengers, adult passengers, with the 24,000 bottles of wine. I don't agree with that. Taxpayers' money for a start, and so on and so on. And furthermore, I think it's a wonderful thing that's happened because it's connecting family and friends, well, long overdue. I have family members that do have family in New Zealand. And here we have a new grandchild that has just turned 1 and missing out on her grandparents in New Zealand and her extended family. And her family here are also missing their family members in New Zealand. I guess we can say thanks for technology. However, technology does not give the personal touch, the warmth and the heart that grandparents give our beautiful young children. However, I do have news that the grandparents are going to make their way over here later this year in September, but that poses a problem, I believe, because they're expected to have the jab, and that's something I totally disagree with at this point in time.
All right. Well, look, hey, we got the People's Congress is in Australia. That's what's up. And we are expanding across the globe. Marquis, did you want to give her a shout out? What is her name?
That was Marianne Mays of Perth, Australia.
Wow. All right.
Long-term friend of mine.
Let's give her a hand. Good job. Thank you so much for your reporting. You are our on-the-ground person in Australia. Saa'dia, what do you got?
I just wanted to say I love her accent. That was just number one. Thank you, Marianne, for coming on our show. Um, and I just to translate, the jab meant the vaccine. So she was saying that the grandparents were going to get the vaccine, and she didn't necessarily agree with it. And they're doing that so that they can communicate and see their families. Um, I think it's interesting too that some of the European countries are kind of battling that same thing where it's like a state to them, but the borders are closed. And so they're not allowing outside of the state. So can you imagine in the United States if we said, if you're from Indiana, stay in Indiana. Virginia, don't come to West Virginia. North Carolina, you go to North Carolina like this. So can you imagine?
With the boundaries of every state, I mean, people would ignore it.
Exactly. It wouldn't happen. It would have to be policed, but in the UK it is. Their borders are controlled where ours is not. So it's pretty sad, but I'm happy to hear that there's some movement being allowed.
And another thing this story brings out, middle class, is what's really important. Prior to COVID, I know people that took their grandparents for, not as a joke, but just didn't care for them as much as they should. But now they miss their grandparents. They care for their grandparents. They want them to be safe. And I think it has returned us back to caring for each other. That's maybe the good thing that came out of this situation. And even now, when you hear states are opening up or countries are opening up, it makes you feel good. It's like they get to see their family again. She made a comment that technology doesn't take the place of a human hug. I mean, think about that. I mean, I literally saw someone get hugged today, and it almost brought me to tears. I'm like, wow, you can see how people need human contact. You know what I'm saying? So that's something that's important. And we have to consider that, and if there's people around you who maybe they don't have family, maybe their family is out of state and people aren't traveling, reach out to them. Let them know that you're here, that you care, and that you want to be a part of their community too. The only way we're going to get there is together, people. We need each other. So let's go ahead and make that happen. All right, so we're going to talk to Jerome. Jerome, what you got for us?
Okay, let's see my next story. My next story has to deal with, this one is for Saa'dia too. Talking about the best software for tax prepping. And I had to pick this one because for years I did my own tax preparation and filing through one of the tax programs. I'm not going to tell you it was TurboTax. I won't tell you that, okay? But I did, and what I discovered working with Antonio in ATS, trying to move out of the middle class to where I need to be, I realized that I was allowing this program, okay, to basically take care of my tax issues when in fact I needed to be more educated, which means I didn't have the knowledge. So I say to that person out there, and I'm not picking on you, Vicky, because you're coming along. That person doesn't have a whole lot of expenditures. Maybe one of these tax programs will be wonderful because when you read the article, it talks about the ones on the market will allow you, if you don't have a whole lot of expenditures, you can file with them for free and you're good to go. But if you've got the deductions and interest rates and all that, no, sorry, buddy, you got to give me some money. But then they went on to say, you can go on the IRS website and IRS will hook you up. But what I want to say, and I got to give you the shout out, Saa'dia, is that, folks, if you really want to be educated about your money and tax purposes, you need to have at least some tax advice if you're going to use one of those programs. Because that's what I learned, because I realized as I was doing it, they were telling me to do certain things, and I didn't understand what I was doing. I just plugged in the numbers that they told me to plug in. Right. But was I doing everything right? And the other thing, and we were talking about this earlier on one of our programs, and I didn't get a chance to chime in. I'll chime in now. Two things. Number one, you need to make sure that, and Adrian, you said this about keeping your receipts. You don't need to commingle funds. That means keep your business money separate from your personal money and from other things that you're doing. You got to keep it separate, and you got to keep the account. So, like for me, I have an online QuickBooks account, but what I'm also doing, because I'm behind in my taxes, and you'll love me for this, Saa'dia, is that I'm going to take all of my receipts from the few years that I haven't filed taxes, and I'm going to put everything in a spreadsheet so that when I update my QuickBooks, I'll have everything right in front of me, and then I'll have that for my records as well. So if I get audited, I've got everything there. Because right now I got receipts from all over the place. And I said, Jerome, this is too much. But if you got it like an Excel spreadsheet where you got everything laid out and you got everything categorized, and you can sort it just in case you need to find something. So I really like this, but I would say those who want to get out of the middle class, if you really want to get out of the middle class, it's okay. I think these programs are fine, but make sure you're talking to somebody like Saa'dia who knows what they're talking about. And Saa'dia, you may not know what you're talking about, but I believe that you do. So
yeah,
cool.
Thank you. I do try to do my best by my clients and try to have everyone reach financial freedom, which is our goal. That's my heart, my passion. I found this article to be interesting because what's happening is a battle between H&R Block and TurboTax Live, where they want to take away from CPAs that, all the people who would normally pay a CPA, they would rather we do just the complicated taxes, and they're trying to, embolden, empower people to do their taxes on their own. The problem with that is that you don't know enough, like Jerome said. There are things that you think you're saving. Oh, I'm so savvy. I'm writing off this business expense and this business expense, and then next thing you know, you're writing off something that one that's not allowed, but you think it is because somebody told you it is. And two, you think that some things aren't allowed, but they are, because the IRS tax code changes, and we would never expect you to know it, but that's what we're here for. So it's very important that if you want to become savvy and you prefer doing your taxes on your own, get some advice prior to you filling out your taxes. You can still do them, but get advice. So the other issue with that is if you complete your taxes on your own, who are you going to, when the IRS contacts you, who are you going to get to help you? Yes, I'm listening. Who? What's going to happen is you're going to end up paying a person like me to come help you do an offering compromise and negotiate with the IRS. Thank you very much for the $1,000 to $1,500 you'll pay me for that. You could have just paid $300, $350 for your taxes, depending on your tax situation. And I would have stood behind my work. So it's just very important, because a lot of times mistakes are innocently made. And so that's just my caveat. I know that it's important for people to learn, and the internet can teach you, but it's not the IRS tax code.
All right. So you are watching the People's Congress. We're talking about the things that affect you in your life. We want you to make informed decisions. And part of that is to know the difference between filing taxes on your own and going to someone else who knows the tax law as it changes and can get you more money back in your pocket. Right. So that's what's important. If you haven't used a CPA, you've been filing on your own for years, I challenge you. I want to challenge you. It's not going to cost you much for this little challenge. Go to a CPA this year for your taxes if you haven't filed them yet. Let them do it, and then get them to do last year's taxes to see if you did those right, and see if you got as much money back as you were supposed to, because you never know. You might be leaving your money on the table, right? It's just a small experiment. So I'm going to challenge you, and this might it might surprise you. You might get a couple extra $1,000 back, and that means, you owe me money because I helped you out, right? So reach out to a brother.
So Stephen, all of my new clients I've had this year, and it's not uncommon for CPAs to do this, we offer to look at your previous year's taxes for you. And for instance, I looked at one recently and had to break it to the person that their taxes were done wrong and they weren't legal. And the person who did their taxes didn't sign off and say, I'm a professional, I did it. And
right.
They're filing it as if, Joe Blow did their own taxes. So the liability isn't on the CPA. The other thing they said was, I looked over their shoulder and they were doing free file. I said, really? How much you pay for that? $350. Oh, that's illegal too. You know, you're not supposed to
Wow.
be paid for taxes that you do if you use a free file program, period. So
Wow.
um
Okay.
it's
That's good stuff
interesting.
right there. That's good
Yeah,
stuff
I had
right
a
there. You guys
question.
might have to take her webinar and learn more about all that ins and outs of
And
taxes.
one
Marquis, do you have
last
a question?
reminder. May 17th, May 17th, May 17th. If you have not filed your taxes, think May 17th is your deadline.
Why?
Because you don't want to pay a penalty for not filing your taxes and paying on time.
Okay, just want to give them the reason why. All right, that's what's up. Okay, go ahead, Marquis.
My question is for Saa'dia, and the question is, are CPAs like real estate agents, meaning that if you're in a state, are you beholden to that state, or can you move out of that state?
I have clients all up and down the East Coast, North Carolina, West Virginia, Kentucky, Philadelphia, everywhere. I can go
So you don't have to have a
Florida.
license for that state. You don't
No,
have to have a license for that
we
state.
just have to know the taxes for that state. Even though I am registered CPA in Virginia, I'm automatically able to do New York taxes, which New York requires that people be certified to do New York taxes. But as a CPA, I can do all 50 states. Well, it might be 51 soon, but all 50 states basically.
Well, I'm going to be calling you.
Give me a
All
call.
right.
I'll help you out.
Thank you.
That's what's up.
www.pfsurcpa.com. Thank you.
All right. All right. So we want to circulate that money. What do we call that here at the ATS? What do we call that?
Group economics.
It is group economics. If anybody's going to buy your service, it should be us because we are a part of the Congress. So that's what's going on. Hey, we did a story yesterday. I just want to bring this up to you guys on college. And is it worth the money? Kevin, you want to cue us up on this story?
Oh man, I tell you, it was so powerful, guys. What was interesting there, we just got off the call, and I went on the internet, and that story just immediately came up. And I said, man, that's pretty interesting. So I immediately had to get this over to Stephen, see if this would qualify. But we got students that are trying to figure out, why did I go to school? Why did I pay this money? And they're trying to understand, why do y'all tell me that I shouldn't have done it like this? Amazing.
Yeah. All right. So let's take a look at this quick report by NBC Nightly News, and we'll talk about it on the other side of this.
30-year-old Adley Alcala has it all: an apartment in New York City, a thriving career in HR at JP Morgan Chase, and more than $70,000 a year in income. What she doesn't have is a college degree. Did you assume that investment banks were only for college grads, even Ivy League school grads?
I had no notion that you would be able to even get a foot in the door without a degree.
The Global Bank is actively recruiting people without college degrees through programs that pay them to train in careers like operations and consumer banking.
I didn't have a degree. My future was extremely uncertain, and the program kind of provided a clear way where I would be able to pursue a career path or journey.
I only went to college because my parents made me go to college.
Mark Benioff is the founder and CEO of Salesforce.
Everybody thinks that if you don't have a college degree, you can't be successful in the United States, and it's not true.
The average cost of a 4-year degree has risen to more than $10,000 a year for a public university and $37,000 for private, and more than half graduate with an average of $29,000 in student debt. And is college even worth it? It's expensive.
You can create incredible value for the world without a college degree. I came to this country with a lot of aspirations.
After immigrating from Colombia, Juan Medina worked several jobs, including construction and car sales. College was out of the question.
If I went part-time, it was going to take me like 8 years to finish college and possibly some debt.
A much better alternative for Juan and his growing family: free online training with Salesforce that led not only to a job.
Now I feel like I have a career. There are a lot of opportunities out there.
More major corporations are abandoning the requirement of a 4-year degree. At Apple, half of their employees don't have college degrees. But this path is untested. Many jobs still require a bachelor's degree. And on average, a college graduate makes 67% more than a high school graduate. But as the cost of college rises, some say the returns aren't keeping pace. The idea that to make a lot of money, you need to go to college, that's a thing of the past.
To make a lot of money, you just need to get the skills. You don't need to go to college. You can do it all online.
Ali Alcala sees only one reason why she'd pursue a diploma now.
Just to have it framed.
Stephanie Rule, NBC News.
All right. So we'd like to thank Stephanie for that report in NBC News. We appreciate that information. But let's talk about it. I mean, what did you guys get from this report? All right. Go ahead.
You know, when I looked at the report, I thought it was interesting that it is saying you don't need a college education, because I directly think of what I do, and I would not be able to do my job if I didn't have a college education, because what they teach us is the foundation of accounting, and not only that, but finance, economics, marketing, business, psychology, believe it or not, because you got to understand people and their money. You have to understand society. So you're doing, OB, organizational behavior, all these things. So you're learning the foundation. And then once you get to your major, you're specifically learning how to do things in your major. And when you get to the real world and get a real job, that helps you actually learn the real world experience. A lot of us, you graduate from school, it's totally different when you work in the real world. But you now have the foundation to learn and to build on. But I totally agree that there are certain jobs you can do that Coursera is another one, including Salesforce, where you could go and take free classes for just about anything. So there are definitely free options, but you can't, they're not necessarily certifications. You want to pay to get a certification in something. And you can do that as well on those sites.
All right, Kevin, what you got?
Man, I just had this discussion with my awesome two nephews in upstate New York with their mom and dad, talking about this very situation. They get ready for college. I gave them some options in this area. Well, we're talking about certifications. We're talking about, of course, getting a college degree, but they have to now have a strategy and a plan, guys. It's so important that you really got to think about this. Like Saa'dia said, in certain areas, you must have a BS degree, master's degree, PhD, whatever that is. But guess what? I had a friend of mine, real quickly, guys, told me, I asked about what jobs are available in 5G. Y'all know about the 5G technology that's available. I said, Lee, what's available in the 5G? He said, well, I don't really know, but what you can do is Google and find out what jobs are open in 5G, read the requirements, and figure out which one you want to go get. So that's a reverse, I want to get a job system right there, ladies and gentlemen. If you want a job in 5G, go Google 5G jobs, find out what the requirements are, get the requirements, and then apply for the job. Some cases does not require a degree, but it does require a certificate in technology in that area. That will even be able to help you. But very powerful area. You don't always have to get a degree, but you may need a degree in certain areas. So I agree with Saa'dia on everything she said.
All right. So I disagree with everything Saa'dia said. So let's look at the other side of the coin. All right. So we saw in the report that Salesforce, the owner of Salesforce, only went to college because he was made to go to college. And actually, he hires people who don't go to college because they can train them. Right. So no, I don't disagree with everything. But my point is, like Saa'dia said, there are jobs you have to go to college because you got to know what you're doing. You got to be certified and all that kind of thing. Lawyers, doctors, accountants, that kind of thing. But there are other programs where you can learn the same kind of information instead of paying, a lot of money at a college and you're not going to get, the kind of learning you should. Because I was shocked to find out that my daughter went to a college down in Norfolk. I'm not going to say what it's called, but the college, and she was told by her professor that if she just came to class if she just showed up on Fridays, he would give her an A. That's what's in the money we're paying for education. I'm like, you better get up in there. He better teach you something. But this is the thing, a lot of the colleges now have moved to a model where you basically are teaching yourself. Like these are the books, these are classes, this is the course, this is the curriculum. Get your study groups together. You guys figure it out. I'm gonna test you and see what you like. That's not college. That's not it, right? So I think what's coming up in like with ATS, the model that ATS is now moving to, where they're going to be online courses that takes you from A to Z on any subject you're looking for, and basically looking at grades from everywhere from elementary school all the way up through college, with certifications, by the way, for a fraction of the cost. I think they're going to be models like that. They're going to show up now, but it's good to see that people who maybe didn't get an opportunity to go to college, maybe couldn't afford to go to college, are finding jobs that can actually pay their bills and give them a career. So, all right. So does Jerome, you have something? Go ahead.
I do have a comment. When I retired from the Army and was working at this boot camp in upstate New York with delinquent kids, I was in the background getting my bachelor's degree and was working on my master's. I graduated with honors from my bachelor's, and I was working on my master's, and it got political at the job. So, and because it was hurting the kids, I resigned. Came back to Baltimore. So I come back to Baltimore. I've got a bachelor's degree, 1 year of a master's, and it's in psychology and school counseling. A friend of mine who worked at an environmental engineering firm told me that they had an opening for an instructor there. Okay. And I taught in the military and I taught those kids. So I went and interviewed for the job. And the owner, the CEO, liked me. And I liked him too. We enjoyed each other's company. And we were sitting there talking. He says, at this time, Jerome, I like your resume, but I don't have any openings at this time. Blah, 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 blah. He says, your resume looks good. I've got some friends who I could give this to and get you a job. And I says, I appreciate that, but I don't believe I feel the same way in their boardroom as I do in yours. When an opening comes up, feel free to give me a call. But I said to him, are you sure you want to hire me? And he says, excuse me? I said, are you sure you want to hire me? I says, because I know nothing about lead-based paint. I know nothing about mold. I know nothing about asbestos. He said, Jerome, we can teach you that.
Yep.
Everybody can't teach. I said, I can do that. I worked for that company for 18 years, folks. There's two competitors in Maryland who teach the same classes we teach. I can run circles around all their instructors, and they've been in the field much longer than I have been. But he was absolutely correct. I got my certifications. I went out in the field. They taught me what I needed to learn, but everybody can't get up in the classroom and teach. Rolling Baltimore's own. You don't know, you better ask somebody. And I didn't have a degree, but I got my certification. Come on now. You better, please.
That's all right. That's all right. Look, that's what it takes. You know what I'm saying? That's what changes people's lives. So great story. Thank you for sharing that with us. I'm gonna go to Adrian. So Adrian, make sure you unmute. I'm gonna give you 15 minutes to get that unmute button pushed. Go ahead and push that button. And what we're gonna do is I want to go to Adrian because we're talking about drug companies facing first opioid trials. You want to give us the insight on that, Adrian?
Well, I mean, you didn't put it in there that we gonna do it, so I guess we better do it. Let me see. Now, I wanted to say something.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, share.
With all of this learning, I just wanted to say I thank you for all of the information, and a lot of it is just like wah 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 wah, but it's an important place to be able to have to go past it to say thank you, because like Brother Stephen said, a lot of it is way over our heads. But as middle class, we need to figure out how is it we can go hone in on what it is that they're talking about. Because in order for us to move to the next level, we are going to have to listen. We are going to have to pay attention. And then we are going to have to understand. So now I'm ready to tell my report. But no, because these people don't even belong in this reporting system. I just want you to know. Like I'm a report on the story. But at the end of the day, I was thinking, for real, y'all, is that really what's going on? You really they need to go away. All opioids need to just go away. Because right now we're having a situation. We're having a situation where we need to know who people are. And right now, just because it's going on in the pandemic, they messed up. They had to slow up all the trials and everything during the pandemic. And now they want to open back up because, you know, everybody getting in on this money and they thinking, well, hold up, y'all. We did have a good plan going on. Opioids was it for a long time.
It's true.
But they just feel as though they really want to get back into testing out people to figure out what are we going to do to get our name back in the mix. Because right now, if you've noticed, Johnson & Johnson is a pharmaceutical company, but as far as we're concerned right now, the only thing that Johnson & Johnson can do is figure out what they're going to do with this vaccine so that we can get this vaccine pump. Now, they are working with 500,000 overdoses in the United States. I don't believe that the trial needs to even start back up, but they said that the trial is one of several that is looking to hold companies accountable for the overdoses and the abuse crisis. Honestly, is it really the company that we should hold accountable? Medicine is there to be taken so that you can take it if you need to take the medicine. But when it gets down to 500,000 overdoses, is that really going to be something that we're going to give to them? It says that Teva Pharmaceutical Industries, Endo International PLC, and AbbVie Allergan unit. That's what they say. There's several California countries. They are looking for different opportunities to do it, but for what? Everything is addictive. It's an addictive risk. They don't know what to do. Everything is addictive. So as far as
let me ask you a question.
To the Congress.
I want to ask Telly. I want to ask Telly what she thinks. Telly, what do you think?
I think a lot of things about this. I know in that article it was saying they are accusing these companies of pretty much deceptive marketing, but isn't that pharmaceuticals anyway? Like, you listen to the commercials and they're like, it's going to help you with depression, but along with depression, let's name all the 10 side effects, including fatality. So while you're supposed to help me with my depression, I could die. So at that point, let me just take some chamomile tea or some mint tea to figure it out, because I'm not taking a medicine. And so, I mean, I think it's great that there are trials and there are repercussions for deceptive marketing, but is it really going to help? They can pay the money, because even in the article, I believe Johnson & Johnson was trying to pretty much throw money at the situation, like $30 million to pretty much make it go away. But it's only going to put a Band-Aid on the situation. It's still going to be the same. And I mean, we're seeing even with the COVID-19 vaccines, which I won't touch on.
Let's not go down that road today.
Yes, I'm not a healthcare professional, but there's no accountability even there. So why do you expect there to be a difference with the opioid? I don't think it's going to happen. I don't.
All right, well, let's take it to the Congress, because this is certainly something that's affecting the middle class. You know, those 500,000 deaths didn't happen in the 1%. Right. Okay, so let's talk about it, because this is affecting the families in the middle class. Is this something that you guys have some insight on? Is there anything you guys want to share?
Yeah, absolutely. Real quickly, I work for the state of Georgia and the quality side, which was the behavioral health side guys. And real quickly, I was able to understand, after talking to some psychiatrists, that they are limited to what they can really do. They go by the rules, they go by the state laws and all that good stuff, even their training. But to really help the people, I asked the question. I actually basically said, "You're not helping the people," and they said, "Yeah, we know, but that's all we can do." So we have to really educate people on what they're getting, why they're getting it, and then also the side effects. It doesn't make you hit it on the head. It don't make no sense. I've got a headache, and then it gives you 10 side effects. Why would I want to take that? But people are taking it. I don't understand. So we're not.
The doctors are prescribing it. They trust their doctors blindly, and that's unfortunate.
I know it. So we got to do something better.
There's too much going on. We can't say that they're going to do that blindly now. That's why I said this is over 500,000 ODs.
Oh, no, but think about it. We didn't know about that until tonight. Nobody knew it was no 500,000 deaths when it came to opioid. But now, we've now brought that out.
You don't know the numbers, but you know that there are too many people that are dying. Well, actually, no, excuse me. They were ODing. They're not dying because you know that we save them that OD. We don't, they don't overdose and die. They just OD and then they get shot because we're saving them so that we can continue to keep them medicated. So for real, the truth of it, like I said, for real, it's like one of them where you just said that in 10 years, they're not going to be able to have regular gasoline cars. You're going to have to switch it up and you're going to have to plug your stuff in. It's going to be a something situation. They're going to tell you that you're going to have to smoke something before you go and take these pills and get all the way completely discombobulated. And then you be ODing.
All right. So let's take a look. Saa'dia, what do you got?
You know, we're in the middle class, and honestly, I want to talk about a middle class issue. Okay. I, just like most of you, know lots of people who have been addicted to opioids. It starts with them having some type of pain, back pain, an accident of some sort, and they take it to ease their pain, but then they get addicted to it because they say you're supposed to only take it, 6 to 8 hours apart, 4 to 6 hours, but your pain is there. So you're going to take another pill because your pain is there. The next thing you know, it takes more and more of that medicine to get rid of your pain. And so then you're stuck being, now you're addicted to these opioids. And so you'll go to another doctor, talk about your real pain. And because you still have back pain, leg pain, whatever, and you'll get another prescription. Well, unfortunately, during that time, the doctors were actually being courted by the pharmaceuticals and given benefits and incentives to give out these medicines, but they were helping if you take them appropriately. It's when you get addicted that you start either getting additional prescriptions or you buy it off the street. And then you have to say, well, what will I do to get off of them? I know people who started drinking to trying to get off of the opioids and people who started smoking marijuana to get off of the opioids. So which is worse, the opioids or the marijuana? Well,
the opioids.
Yes, get off of the opioids because I'm not going to kill myself right away with marijuana. So this is a big middle class issue because people don't start with opioids because they want to get high. They start because they have a pain. So just wanted to kind of point that out, that this started very, honestly, I have a pain and it won't go away and it hurts real bad. And so just something for the middle class for us to think about. These are not, I don't think we should hold the pharmaceuticals responsible. I don't think really it's the doctors or the people. It's really education. Don't keep taking it if you find that you have to take it sooner and sooner. Come back in so that we can do something else. We can try something else. Because they're always going to create a drug that's going to be addictive. Come on now.
Speaking of addictive, let's go to the president. Let's talk about the president. That was a really nice segue.
I just didn't see that coming, but go ahead.
There you go. So, Kelly, let's talk about Biden. What is he warning about corporate tax? What's going on with the corporate taxes?
So I'm going to be completely honest. I read this article, but I'm still confused about corporate tax. And the gist of the article is the U.S. wants to ramp up taxes on businesses to help pay for a jump in spending, with Joe Biden eyeing infrastructure investment. However, its plan may struggle to win the backing of countries that benefit from low business taxes. Now, I'm still very confused about all corporate taxes, and I need help. So if anyone can help me with this article, really understanding what corporate taxes is, because even in additional research, I'm still not understanding. And so I want to be able to give good information on this.
All right. So I know exactly who can help with that, and that is Romy Rome. What do you got, brother?
Sorry. I am here, big brother. I am here, big brother. I'm here for you.
You are.
If there's anybody that can help me, it's Jerome, because we make the same article. Lord help me. I was so
the exact same article, and I came up with the exact same conclusion. What's going on here? What's happening? And I couldn't figure it out either. So thank you, Stephen, for making me look very intelligent in front of my peers.
Hey, brother, you could have played that off real nice. I tell you what, if you had thrown me that story, I'd have made something up. It would have sounded nice too. And then I would have kindly handed it off to Saa'dia, right?
I'm not that good.
Yeah, you gotta learn to hustle, brother. You gotta be able to flow with that.
I know a little bit about, very little. What I do know about corporate taxes, well, I know that specifically in America, this may or may not even apply or even be relevant to the story, but I know that it's important to keep corporate taxes low in the effort to not have our businesses be outsourced to another country. Now, I know that is something we.
There you go.
Oh, see, I know something now, but that article, not much, but
that is important.
And we often talk about taxing corporations and paying their fair share. However, if they are taxed too heavily, then they're going to look at other countries where they could get cheaper labor, and that could obviously open Pandora's box. From a customer service standpoint, a lot of different standpoints, but I know that we need to keep corporate taxes at a relatively low standpoint, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I think that's relevant. I think that's relevant.
All right, well, let's talk about something that's probably more relevant to the middle class that we can understand. Breaking down the financial strength of Social Security.
Right.
That affects the middle class. I think that's a good subject to get into.
Yes.
I'm going to hand it off to Tanya, then we'll go to Kevin.
The Social Security program that we have, they are saying by the year of 2026, there will probably be no money left to, there'll be a cut in the money to hand out. And they're requesting people to do different things as far as if you wanted to get it early, if you wait a little longer to get it, and different, things to do with that, with your retirement. And so forth. So they were, giving suggestions in the article of what to do. The people that are worried about it not being there, and then suggesting that you get something, but it might be a cut in it by like 27%. But you're getting some. But by 2030, I think it was by 2026, you'll see a 2026 and by 2030 or something like you'll see you can decide what you wanted to do with your, you decide what you want to do with your Social Security. It's up to you. You're the one that decided if you want to do it early, cash it out early. You'll lose money by cashing it out early. So you decide what you want to do. And people were worried about the money not being there by the time that the time came around. So just being cautious and keeping up with what's going on about it, so you'll know what your options are and what you can do for yourself and your family. So
okay, all right, thank you, Kevin. What do you got?
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, you're right, Tanya. It was 2026. Yes, that's right. I know we got the expert on. Saa'dia can help us a little bit more, but I wanted to share this part of the article with you guys because the big boys say this big misconception. Often, sometimes people make emotional decisions about their Social Security, about getting it, so forth. Just as a few simple examples, if you wait till your full retirement, which is age 67, I think we mentioned that a little earlier, maybe. Let's say you get $2,000 in your Social Security. If you claim at 62, you only get $1,400 per month. If you wait until you're 70, then you could get as much as $2,500 per month. So what we're concerned about is that it's going to actually change possibly again without our understanding. That's why we are excited about the ATS network, ladies and gentlemen, because we have to get prepared to have a second plan, maybe a third plan. So if this does happen, whatever way it goes, it won't even affect us. It'll be a bump in the log for us. So we got to really get ready for potential change in the future.
All right. So middle class, you hear us talking about these issues. Look, if you got questions or concerns, let us know. Leave us a comment, send us an email. I mean, heck, send us smoke signals. Just let us know you hear us and that you got issues and you need some help, right? Don't never be afraid to ask for help. And from young to old, we care about all of you guys. You are part of our community and you are a part of our viewership. We call you the People's Congress as well. If you're watching the show, you are a part of the People's Congress. So please let us know what you're doing to help out with these issues, and let us know if you need help at the same time, because we are definitely here for you We want to get you connected with the information you need, and that's ATS. All right. And when we talk about Maxit, that is the middle class exit. Why? Because ATS has some programs that can show you what you need to know, some courses that can teach you what you need to know, and help you really just get the education you need to be able to make the best decisions for your future. And you know what? They say the person that fails to plan plans to fail. And we don't want you to fail. We care about you dearly, and that's why we take time to do this. Look, this is a 2-hour show. I'm just going to take a second for a second. I just need to tell y'all this. It's a 2-hour show, right? And we do this every night, okay? Every night you see us, we did it. It was 2 hours, all right? So we're doing it because we want to educate you. We're not just here to entertain you, but we're here to empower you, and we want you to be motivated to make some good decisions for your family. Marquis, what's going on with your brother? Been mighty quiet there in the corner.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm in recovery mode, my friend. I'm in the recovery mode.
I saw it looked like the medicine was kicking in, so I wanted to call him.
Brother, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It trust me, it kicked in twice, and I'm good. I got some life back in me.
All right.
But I wanted to add something from what we was talking about earlier about the corporate tax plan, just from an observation standpoint. For me, it looks like the United States is a boat with many holes, and the White House, through taxation, is trying to show up the leakage so that the United States can stay ahead of the rest of the world. The problem is competition. We here in the United States are feeding these countries, literally, because they have, what is the Walmart thing with the low prices? And if you're going to feed that, you can't complain. Like I said earlier, you can't complain when they come and leapfrog you. So part of this, I believe, is if you tax a corporation, that means that they can bring the money up and put it to programs and yada, yada, yada. That's government.
Yeah. That's just the way it works. So, all right. So anybody else want to chime in on this as we're closing out the show tonight?
Yeah, I'd like to say that, Marquis, you brought up a very valid point, because what's happening is Biden is trying to get all of the countries in the EOCD group, these group of countries that kind of agree to trade and move together, to agree to a standard corporate tax so that they no longer can undercut United States and have our corporations, who's all about the bottom line, go out and get cheaper labor to make their products or give their services. So they're saying, be American, manufacture Americans, buy American. And so he's thinking that, we definitely want to do this because they're undercutting us, and corporations are trying to avoid paying taxes by having their shoes made in China, by having their shirts made in Taiwan. A lot of times you call customer service and you may have someone from India answering the phone. They're paying them pennies on the dollar to work. And so that's kind of what they're talking about here.
Okay. All right. Good information. Thank you so much. We do appreciate it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to talk about the cold weather in February. Now, some of us have been impacted by cold weather, even now. But Jerome, as he reaches for his story.
Yes. This
February's cold weather shut more U.S. refineries capacity. What's going on with that story?
Yes, cold weather. Yes, here we go. What I thought was so interesting about this particular story was, I noticed when I was going to the pumps to get my gas, the prices of gas kept going up, and I was wondering what was going on. And then when I read this article, I could see why. And they were talking about the refineries, especially down in the Houston area, when they had this freeze for 2 weeks. It affected their ability to refine the oil, which, of course, if you can't get it to the pumps, you can't get it where it needs to be. That sends up the price. And so as I was reading this article about how something as simple as 2 weeks of freezing can cause the price of the oil to go up, I went back to, hey, folks, what about the need for renewable energy? What about solar? What about wind? What about electric? So when we were talking about those electric cars earlier, this is the kind of stuff that, and what did you say, Kevin? $2 to charge your car up versus the price keeps going up. And it was like $1 or something almost $2 a gallon. I'm like, wait a minute, hold up, stop. What's going on? Because I didn't hear anything in the news. But then I read this article and I says, wait a minute, 2 weeks of cold weather and my gas goes up on my car?
But it's more than that, but I don't.
Oh, no.
Go ahead.
That's part that got my attention. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's more than that, because what they're saying is that for the month that it took these people to recover and to get back online, that supply and demand also increased because more Americans, we were able to drive around more. And so when demand goes up, guess what else happens? Price goes up. So it comes back to economics. And so with Americans being out, y'all noticed during the pandemic, it was very affordable to get gas because you weren't supposed to be getting it anyway. So demand was down, price was down. So with us being out in the streets now and we're able to get around, price was going to inevitably go up. But that winter storm that occurred really caused havoc with our own oil refineries. And with them being offline for so long, it spiked not our price, not just because of that, but because we're all driving now. So welcome to the summer prices early.
All right. You said exactly what I wanted to say. I'm glad I didn't have to say it. All right. You read my mind. Good job. So great information, people. And look, this stuff is affecting us. I mean, think about it every day. So at least we're now learning why these things are happening. So thank you, Saa'dia. Great information. Thank you, Jerome. Don't know quite why I'm actually saying thank you to you, but thank you anyway. But look, you guys did a great show tonight. Look, we did. Look at Adrian. Adrian was like, what? No, Jerome did great. We
love you, Romy Rome.
Yeah, we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear from our audience. We want to get feedback. Each one of us here, we might be making some impact in your life. You might be saying something that makes sense to you. So make sure that you mention us in your posts and let us know that you're posting, and we might even comment. Who knows? You might be able to give us some information too, and we'll mention you here on the show as well. But for the People's Congress, we are excited to be representing you guys all across the United States and all across the world. We want to make sure that this show is meeting your needs. So please let us know exactly what you need in the middle class so we can help you be empowered. Again, thank you to ATS and Mexit, because they're doing all they can do to help you to be all that you can be for your family. We'll see you guys on the next show.